Current living situation. I, 39 male, live in a house with Tom, 40 male, and Ben, 43 male, and our 5 children. Boys, tweens, Tom and mine bio kids, 2 girls tween and pre-tween, bio kids, Ben's, and his late wife, Anna, and our youngest girl, pre-tween, Ben and mine bio kid. Ben and I work. Tom's been a stay-at-home dad for the last 9 years. He went back to school 4 years ago. Ben and I cover all household expenses, including any costs for Tom's education. Background. Tom and I met at a party when we were 19. We've been friends ever since, with benefits at times when we were both single. While on a holiday together, a condom broke on us. Due to location, emergency contraception wasn't available, and when I turned out to be pregnant, we chose to keep that kid and moved in together. We were never a couple, but we worked great as a family, so we decided to have a second kid. Anna was my childhood best friend. She and Ben moved into the flat downstairs from ours when she was pregnant with their oldest daughter. I loved having her close again after living in different cities for years. Sadly, she passed away after a very complicated second labor. Ben and I found solace in each other, and I ended up pregnant. I didn't notice right away as my method of contraception should have been safe, and I also blamed a lot of the symptoms on grief and guilt. So when I found out, there wasn't really an alternative anymore. Tom was the first one I told. He said he'd welcome another child into our family. Ben was shocked and struggled to accept it, but we kept in good contact through all of it. We all started having dinner together most nights after our daughter was born. Other girls would already spend the day, as Tom was their nanny. A couple of years later, my grandma moved into a retirement home, and Tom and I decided to move to her house. Ben asked if he could move in with us, and we agreed. It's maybe unusual, but it works for us. Where I might be the idiot. Tom has been with B for the last 3 years. There was some talk about him asking her to move in about a year ago, but he never did. B and I get along. Not best friends, but I like spending time with her. Well, liked. She showed up unannounced 3 days ago and demanded to see Tom. He's currently on a skiing trip with Ben and the boys. I reminded her of that and then said I would tell him to contact her if there was an emergency. She then tells me that she's pregnant with Tom's child, highly unlikely, and that she's already talked to his parents and that they'll buy them a house next to theirs so they can live there as a family, and that they think they'll be taking the boys with them. That's when I told her to leave, which after some yelling and insults, she did. I've since been called multiple times by her best friend, and Tom's parents to try and get his contact, but I'm still refusing to give it away. They've been calling me an idiot, among other names, for not letting him know that B is pregnant and he doesn't need to be abused and exploited by me anymore. So, am I the idiot for not giving any possibly pregnant baby daddy's girlfriend his contact after she threatened to break apart my family? Edit to add, Tom had a vasectomy 11 years ago, and he's in very low contact with his parents, as they disapprove of me and our overall living arrangements. I don't know why Tom didn't tell her how to contact him. He likes turning off his phone during holidays and telling people where to contact him instead. For not giving out contact information to someone who didn't already have it, and thus likely didn't have the consent to contact on this trip, I say not the idiot. Let him take his trip. There isn't a lot he can do about it from there anyway, and a stay-at-home dad needs a break. He can come home and tend to this mess in person. Good luck. If her pregnancy claim is true, it will probably be messier before it gets better. Do you think not giving B Tom's information will somehow make this situation go away or get better? Have you notified the relationship authorities about this new category you've created? Friends with benefits and children, but mostly just children squared. Are you living in a sitcom? Have you considered introducing B to Ben? It seems to me a DNA test is all that's needed here. So B told Tom's parents and you that she's pregnant before telling Tom, and already has a plan for where they'll live and how child custody will be arranged? without Tom's input, and she presumably only found out about the pregnancy after they left on the ski trip. That's insane. Now, maybe pregnancy hormones are messing up her mental state, but this all seems instead calculated. Is there any chance she was hoping to provoke a fight and waited until there were no witnesses? Yeah, I hope B and his parents don't ambush him in the driveway. Tom's about to have his life completely shattered. So no, I don't think you're the idiot for giving the man another day of peace. Good luck, OP. It takes a village to raise a kid. Your village just happens to be pretzel-shaped and living under one roof. Back when my son was a preschooler, he had extreme behavioral issues. His doctor started making arrangements for an evaluation, but ultimately, he ended up retiring before anything was pushed through, and my son was given a new doctor in the practice. The new doctor was fresh out of college and was so dismissive. She met with my son once, went over his charts, and point-blank told me my son was acting like that because of me. I spent the entire 30-minute appointment with her telling me how to parent my kid and what I was doing wrong, telling me that I lacked consistency, that I needed to learn discipline, that he only acted like that because I didn't have a backbone, and she wasn't even nice about it either. Like, every time I would mention any behavior my son had, I was met with a smirk or an eye roll, and a yeah, he does that because you're young and don't know what you're doing. Children aren't playthings. This is what happens when babies have babies. I was 24. To make matters worse, my son was her first ever patient. She had just gotten out of college and was shadowing up until then. I even brought up that my son started having breathing problems, and she told me it was behavioral and that he was only acting like he was having breathing issues to get his way because he would hold his breath and start screaming and hyperventilating. I left that appointment crying, complained, and switched doctors before leaving the office. Well, the doctor they switched my son to was great. They did the evaluation like his original doctor wanted, and it was determined that he had ODD and gave me resources to manage it. Not only that, but they also diagnosed him with asthma after checking his O2 and it being 84. He was later diagnosed with ADHD. Well, this doctor just switched practices, and now there are only 2 doctors in this pediatrics office. One is the one I filed a complaint about years ago. The front desk tried switching my son back to being under this doctor's care, and I refused. I don't want her anywhere near my kid or me, but the other doctor is slammed with patients, so they called me in for a meeting, and the doctor I filed the complaint about apologized and asked me to let go of the past and that she's more educated now and feels she should be forgiven, especially where it was over something small. I stood my ground, however, and told her she wasn't welcome near me or my child, and due to this, I've overwhelmed the other doctor, who already has a lot of patients. My husband thinks I'm an idiot for not giving this doctor a chance, but I don't feel she deserves one after proving she's just a dismissive person in general. That one doctor is slammed, while she has vacancies, suggests you're not the only parent she angered. Don't let them blame you for her crappy bedside manner and pressure you into seeing someone who's still dismissing your concerns. You're not the idiot. A doctor told a friend of mine that her young daughter was faking leg pain for attention. It turned out that the kid had a bone disease, Perf's disease. Trust your gut. How on earth are you supposed to trust that doctor when they failed you so miserably? Being a doctor straight out of school is no excuse. Did she apologize 4 years ago? Did she make up to you at all during those last few years? That would show growth. As it stands, they're making excuses. Is this the only pediatric practice in your town? I would consider switching if at all possible, since it looks like your current pediatric establishment doesn't have your child's best interest at heart. They're more concerned with their doctors than cleaning up the mess this first doctor caused. How you know she hadn't grown or learned as a doctor is that she was still dismissive and called her mistake small when it was clearly not small and definitely not small to OP. If you're making amends, you demonstrate it by being knowledgeable about the case and where you went wrong. Being dismissive of the past is just another demonstration of this doctor's overall attitude towards patients' concerns. OP, it might be time to look for a new doctor's office. I have joint custody of my preteen son, Jack, with his mom. He will be with his mom tomorrow until Tuesday. She asked if I would be okay with her and her husband going to California for a surprise VIP experience at Legoland with Jack. She needs my written consent to take him out of state. I said to email me the letter, and I'll review it and sign it. She sent it to me on Monday. Well, also on Monday, she broke her leg and couldn't move around, let alone get on a plane. So I assumed the trip was canceled. Today, she texted me and asked if I would send the letter back. I told her, how is she going to get on a plane tomorrow when she's still immobile? I said I have very mixed feelings about it. I don't know Logan well, and I'd expect him to be a part of this conversation. She got very offended by that and said Logan is like Jack's best friend, and Jack feels comfortable enough with Logan to call him into the bathroom and shut the door, and drive him and his friends around. She said nothing has changed. It's still a surprise trip made possible by a stepdad. I said maybe I'll tag along. She said, how about Logan text you all the time and let him have this time with his stepson because she's not having any more kids. I still haven't signed it. Edit. My issue is this guy wants to take my kid out of state for a mini vacation, and I haven't heard a peep from him. I'm just hearing from the ex. Also, I told my ex I would agree if Logan took my young teen son, Bryce, Jack's half-brother, and Bryce said he'd go if his best friend Matt could go too. Logan pays for all, of course. You are the idiot. Don't punish your kid for this. It might make you feel momentarily better to turn the screws on your ex, but the bigger picture is that you and your wife are both parenting Jack and want the best for him. And from time to time, stepdad will naturally take part in this. No one planned a stepdad weekend. It was a natural outcome of the broken leg. If you act generously about this, it really will set a nice tone for the future. He followed up with, you can go if you pay for it and take my kid and his friend too. So he's basically like, I don't trust you to take the son alone, but I do trust you to take my son and his best friend. That means he's not concerned about the safety. He just wants to freeload. Yeah, it's bad enough that the loser wants to get a free trip for his other son, but then add his son's friend to the mix? Tell me you're a mooch without saying you're a mooch. Boy, some people have more nerve than brains. I would put money on the fact that Logan makes more money than OP. It's really disgusting that he makes it sound like he's concerned about his kid's safety, but he's okay with him going as long as his kid and the kid's BFF can go along for free. I live with my girlfriend. I've noticed that she started making plans for us but didn't ask me. She'll just make plans and expect me to be fine with doing them. Last week we were talking about this weekend, and I said how nice it was to just have a weekend off doing nothing and just relaxing at home, and she said, oh, I planned for us to go to a cafe in town. I asked why she didn't even ask me if I wanted to do it, and she just said she'd assumed I'd be fine with it. One evening last week, she just brought up in conversation that she's been looking at holidays for February for us to go away for a week and had found a nice place to go. I pointed out that she hasn't even bothered to ask me if I want to go away or ask where I'd like to go. She just picked somewhere she wants to go and expects me to be fine with using my annual leave and paying for half of all the costs for the holiday. She just said she thought I'd want to go, but I just told her that things like that need to be a discussion, not just her deciding what she wants to do and essentially spending my money for me. She got annoyed and said that she thought I'd want to go. I just pointed out that looking at options is something we should do together after we both decided we want to go away. I mentioned that it's becoming a habit for her to just make plans, not bother asking me or even telling me, and then just expecting me to go along with it. I told her she needs to stop and that anything we plan has to actually be discussed. She accused me of having a go at her for trying to plan nice things for us, but I just pointed out that she's spending my money for me essentially, and is just not even asking if it's something I want to be doing. She just repeated that I'm starting an argument for nothing, just because she was trying to plan nice things. Am I the idiot for not wanting my girlfriend to make plans for me without asking me? Not the idiot. I cannot fathom how difficult it is to understand that partners make big plans together, especially when it's not her money that's getting spent. If she can't change her behavior, I would strongly suggest establishing solid boundaries on this issue. If she continues to cross those boundaries, well, then more drastic steps could be taken. Yeah, this whole "I'm just trying to plan nice things" is a cop-out. She's planning something nice for herself and expects you to go along. Perhaps you've been fairly easygoing in the past, letting her take the lead on these things so she's gotten used to it. Either way, you deserve a voice in making plans for the two of you, and she needs to accept that. I disagree. To me, having a whole weekend to yourselves and popping out to a cafe for a couple of hours is chilling. Info: when did you last plan something for the two of you to do? Communication is important. If she can't do that, she's not the one for you. Some people like that are okay with it, but others aren't. Set some boundaries. I get she likes to do stuff. Maybe she feels like nothing will happen if she doesn't make plans, so take point in planning some dates too. My 27 male girlfriend is 22, and we've been dating for 2 years. Call her Emmy. Our relationship is great. We rarely argue, and even then we solve that by talking. We're currently expecting a baby, and we're 5 months along. Emmy loves salt. It's a fact everyone knows about her. She'll always try the food before adding salt, and has always admitted she adds an ungodly amount. Pizza, noodles, pasta, you name it, and she'll add salt. We went to my sister's place because she'd cooked a meal to celebrate the pregnancy. As usual, Emmy tried the meal and added an unhealthy amount of salt. Well, my sister lost her crap, and I told her I didn't know why it surprised her when we had a meal twice a month together. My sister and parents expected me to apologize on behalf of my girlfriend, or for her to apologize. I refused, and now it's causing aggravation in the family. They're not worried about her health. They're just upset she seasoned the food to her liking. They're refusing to host any more meals until one of us apologizes. Emmy wants to apologize, but I told her no, so now she's upset. I'm dragging it out. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but I would have her calcium and magnesium levels checked. These can make you crave sweets and salt, especially being pregnant. She may be having more mineral deficiencies. If she's medically okay and her blood pressure is good, then she's not in any harm and just likes things the way she does. Adults shouldn't try to control other adults' non-harmful eating habits. Raise concerns if you think they're in danger. Otherwise, shut up about people liking things you don't. I've been salt crazy since I was a kid. My parents got me my own personal salt shaker, but I also have low blood pressure, and I drink a ton of water because I just like it. If I didn't consume the salt, my body chemistry would be out of whack, and my blood pressure would become a problem. Some people are just built to need it. OP, your sister can stuff it, and stop controlling people's preferences. To be honest, it's a not the idiot for refusing to apologize for your girlfriend. The whole thing feels like your sister was hypersensitive to anything that might be construed as criticism. However, OP, where I think you are the idiot is in refusing to let your girlfriend apologize. Maybe you think them getting mad is ridiculous, but your girlfriend wants to apologize. Let her. And if this happens again, then you can skip to more extreme measures.